What up, YouTube? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? We back up. Now, what I want to talk about is all the stuff that's going on today. As you can see, I done figured out how to get the monitor going. You feel me? But yeah, we got a few things to talk about. It's a good Monday. Why not? I hope y'all had a good day at the job. If you got it going right now, I understand. You know, just in here trying to make sure everything on the up and up before we get started, y'all. Uh-uh. Hold on, fam. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let's get everything together. Hold on, family. Let's try this again. All right. Now we got that. I be wanting to know if somebody can hear me on this. You know what I'm saying? But I guess I'll figure that out on the end part. Screen kind of dirty. Okay. Let's get this together. So like I said, it's a good Monday. You know? It's a good Monday out here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get it together, y'all. All right. Now, what we gonna do today? Talk about a little bit of this, a little bit of that. The public. It's gonna be going crazy. You feel me? So at the same time, we gonna do it like that. First, what I want to talk about is how TPS is ending for the Haitians and stuff, right? But I seen on one news clip, they said they'll let them stay if they get on an ankle monitor. Yeah, maintain every move they make. Now to the F.B.A.s in the world we in, y'all know how that feels. I know I've been on house arrest before when I was younger. I ain't gonna like that. They violate them curfews. It's gonna be over. So let's just start with that. We're gonna start with that first. Okay? We're gonna start with that first. I gotta get away with y'all real quick. You heard me? Y'all seeing no code, nothing. All right, let's start off with this first.
Consequences from the Supreme Court's big decision on immigrants with temporary protected status. Advocates in Springfield, Ohio say thousands of Haitian migrants are being summoned by ICE, and they're basically being told that they can either be deported on the spot or wear an ankle monitor until their deportation hearing. MS Now's Alex Habit talked to a former TPS holder who now works at a Haitian support center in Springfield, and I want to play for you what he said about that choice.
This is really humiliating, but sometimes you don't have a choice, and it's a catch-22. And when you are in a catch-22, if you realize most of the people, they agree to have the ankle bracelet. In terms of humanity, this is really, really bad. Like, it's a really sad situation to describe.
It's heartbreaking. DHS wouldn't confirm any ongoing operations, but a spokesperson did give us a statement. They said, quote, "It's closing time, which means you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. The good news is it's not too late to get a $2,600 check and a free flight home." I want to bring in that reporter, my colleague Alex Tabbitt, who's on the ground in Springfield, Ohio. Vaughn and Damien are still with us. Alex, can you talk about what you've been hearing from the people here that are facing this situation? I mean, they knew that change was coming, but what has it actually been like?
There's an immense amount of anxiety on the ground here, Alan. I spent much of the day yesterday inside one of the community support centers for Haitians here in Springfield. And it was busy all day with people streaming in, worried about these letters they had received. These letters that call Haitians into one of the ICE headquarters throughout the state of Ohio on very little notice and give them the difficult decision of being detained on the spot or having been refitted with an ankle monitor for about a month until they can have an immigration court appearing. So the deportation proceedings here look very different. We saw in Minneapolis violent detainments on the street, but these ankle monitors are leaving these people with a degree of psychological torment. Inside that building, I would hear the wails of people crying and screaming every couple of hours as they grapple with the fact that they might have to be deported to a country that has a level 4 do not travel advisory from the U.S. State Department. The State Department says it's rampant with violent crime, with terrorism that's run by gangs, that's rampant with sexual abuse. And what we also saw in that building yesterday is because so many people have been receiving this letter, the door was opening all the time, every 10, 15 minutes. And every time you could hear the door open, the dozens of patients in this building couldn't help but turn their heads and look towards the door, fearful of what was on the other side of that door, fearful that ICE might be around the corner.
What Tabbitt is describing there is not just heartbreaking for the people who are at the center of this, but this community of Springfield is one that we have been talking about now for almost 2 years, because it is the very same community that J.D. Vance pointed to with his whole "they're eating dogs and cats" for election. And it's always been a community that's been at the center of this. And it's also coming that as this administration has done more of its aggressive immigration enforcement, it's the very thing that has people, even those who voted for him, saying, "You said you'd be taking the worst of the worst, not my friends, neighbors, and colleagues who have been here trying to build life."
I think after the shootings in Minnesota earlier this year and the ouster of Kristi Noem, a lot of people thought the Trump administration was really going to dial back. And a lot of Republicans on Capitol Hill wanted the White House to dial back its immigration approach. But the Supreme Court decision that recently occurred, and quite frankly, President Trump's own push, has re-energized the Department of Homeland Security. And there's a number of things that the department is doing. It's not just, we're not seeing the clashes like we used to on the streets as much, but there's a lot of policies being implemented in individual communities that are, quite frankly, like pretty sophisticated. And one of the things I think is going to happen before the midterm elections, when Democrats have the opportunity to take over the House or the Senate or both, the White House is going to do as much as they can to get their immigration agenda through, because there might be some actual huge roadblocks in the next year if Democrats have some control. They can control the power of the purse, and they can do investigations.
You're right to talk about the policy too, because your colleagues at the Journal have reporting around a $100,000 fee for international students that end up wanting to work in the U.S. That could lead to some kind of a brain drain as well. But I think, Vaughn, the idea that it's not just what the Journal is reporting, it's also some reporting about a new piece of the immigration agenda, the so-called Freedom Haulers Initiative to replace undocumented truck drivers with military veterans. I don't think anyone is arguing that we shouldn't be helping our veterans find jobs, but I think it's important to put this through the lens of the way that the administration is doing it and the way that they are otherizing people who are here in an undocumented fashion in the process.
Right. This is sort of the immigration policy that is not always necessarily explicitly clear by the president himself. This event yesterday suggested that in order to replace the thousands of truck drivers that lost their truck licenses because they were immigrant truck drivers, that instead the administration is going to fast track for eligible veterans, commercial driver's licenses for veterans, and essentially to try to highlight that American workers can replace immigrant workers here in the United States. That's the pitch and the message coming from the president. And we've heard, especially out of this White House, J.D. Vance has been on the front lines of pushing restriction on not just undocumented immigration, but even more so on legal immigration itself. And he was the one that was pushing for a crackdown, a restriction on H-1B visas, and even to the story from the Wall Street Journal. There was the conversation last year where actually the president himself came out in defense of those South Korean nationals that were working at the Hyundai battery plant down in Georgia that were set to be sent out of the country. And he said, well, they're needed, that high-skilled workers are needed. And he acknowledged that there are high-skill industries where, whether it be recent college graduates who study in the United States or other high-skilled workers that come on those visas, that they are needed to do the work that, frankly, the American labor pool is not able to provide. And so I think for this administration, this particular event was looking at something that doesn't require a college education, for instance, not that level of high-skilled labor, and instead turning to something else where they had a crackdown on the immigration front when it came to truck driver licenses and trying to find a means to fill those roles, jobs with American veterans.
We're going to see what we see more on this front, but I think Damien is right. We're going to see the administration do a flurry of activity on this issue ahead of the midterms in advance of what might happen in those elections. Alex, Vaughn, Damien, thank you all.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about that. Now they say being on house arrest is gonna put them through mental stress. Hold on, tripping. So now, being on house arrest is gonna have you in mental stress. How many of us as F.B.A.s been and went through the court systems? Ankle monitor? Well, please. Jail worse than that. I mean, but an ankle monitor, don't get me wrong, it'll most definitely upset your day. But if you go in the house when you're supposed to and be where you're supposed to be at, you'll be just fine. It's called rules. So why wasn't it such an outrage when F.B.A.s was getting mass incarcerated for nothing? Then they let you out, then put you on probation, parole, ankle monitors. You got to make calls, do all that. Why is it so different when it comes in? Welcome to America. They been doing this. Ain't nothing different than what we've been going through. See, that's what I say. It's the entitlement. They done been over here so long. They feel like they can't get in no trouble. I blame the demonrats for that. They've been giving them stuff and they for so long that they don't even know what to do. Everything anybody do to them now, we wrong and racist and xenophobic, but no, that's not the case. The entitlement is crazy. We got to go through the same stuff, but when they go through it, that's a problem. I'm so sick of this double-edged sword. I got some people right now on house arrest. They handle their business. They make calls when they gotta go somewhere, see if they can leave. If they can't, it is what it is. It's all part of the rules. It's rules to follow in America. You understand me? The F.B.A.s know that. Hell, even the white tea American people know that. So why are they acting like everything so just like no, I'm not going for it. And see, that's what killed me about the immigrants. They get over here, then they feel like they so entitled that they think they think we own something. I think they think we own something. But we don't. I'm sorry. Sir, ma'am, we all grew up in this. This might be new to y'all because some of y'all countries don't have what you call that? A government that's really doing what it need to be doing to keep y'all safe and stuff, right? But that's not our problem. That is not our problem. I'm sorry to say. And like I said, it ain't y'all fault. Then again, y'all came over here siding with the YT man. Mm-hmm. Said that about the YT man. But then, as a matter of fact, so since y'all want to talk that, I'm about to bring my mans up. This my boy.
Pair the new Culver's fried pickle hamburger.
This my boy.
With the Dr. Pepper for the perfect
don't mind that.
pairing.
It's my boy.
Don't buy another charger until you see this. Are you sick of not being able to use your phone when you're watching TV shows or streaming content because the charger is in the way? It's totally uncomfortable. This charger is complete.
As I always say at this time.
Okay.
Man, it's just
that's my man Dennis Spartan.
To have you all come
yes,
in
sir.
day in and day out
now,
just to talk with me.
What I want to do is
allow me to speak to you. As I always say at this time. Man, it's just a privilege and an honor to have you all come in day in and day out just to talk with me, or really just allow me to speak to you, because
oh man,
not everybody has this opportunity. And so what I try to do is I try to be mindful of that.
I'm gonna figure it out. Hold on.
Mindful, demure. Okay. More importantly, I try to speak the truth. I try to protect your ears by only giving you the truth and as accurate as I can without.
Okay, hold on. And this is a lawyer. He a good dude, man. I'm gonna shout him out in there in a second. As soon as I pull it up. You feel me? But I just don't understand. I just don't understand. It shouldn't be like this, y'all. But I guess it is what it is, and this is where we at. Now everybody want to go crazy on us, and we didn't do nothing to y'all. We didn't do nothing to y'all. At first, we weren't even tripping. I sure wasn't tripping by nobody. Like I say, I got into one foreigner. Shout out to the foreigner that I got into it with. You know who it is. But yeah, it ain't nothing. We ain't doing all that. You know what I'm saying? It don't make no sense. And then everybody trying to make us feel sorry about it. Why we gotta feel sorry about it when y'all was up there starting it off? It just don't make no sense. Now this is the one I'm about to do there. Now check this one out.
Your family may
Cause they be up there on us so heavy. Ain't no need to be like that, y'all.
As I always say at this time.
It is what it is.
Man, it's just a
privilege and an
honor to have you all come in and day out, just talk with me,
or really just allow me to speak to you, because not everybody has this opportunity. And so what I try to do is I try to be mindful of that. Okay? Mindful, demure. Okay. More importantly, I try to speak the truth. I try to protect your ears by only giving you the truth and as accurate as I can without any biases. Now, of course, there's going to be some bias because I'm not perfect, but I do give you a perspective, and that's what keeps me going. And I appreciate your feedback. I pretty much read all the comments, so and I take it in consideration. Now, today, I want to talk to you all about something that's been a hot topic, and that is, let me say, ever since Haitians under TPS were put on notice that the temporary protected status has ended, some of them have directed their anger towards Black Americans. And TPS, the temporary protected status, is a humanitarian immigration designation that allows certain foreign nationals to live and work in the United States temporarily. Okay, and when their home country is considered too dangerous or unstable for return, they're allowed here to stay here. How long? Temporarily. It's not citizenship, not permanent residency. It's not temporary. It's temporary protection. But keep in mind, there's been a concerted effort by many Haitians in America to separate themselves from foundational Black Americans. And the entire time they've been here. And they've made it a point to distinguish themselves from Black Americans, largely because the perception is that they're treated differently, meaning better than foundational Black Americans. And here's the problem. In response to the termination of TPS, some Haitians have directed their anger towards foundational Black Americans and have begun lashing out at us. But it was the current administration of Donald Trump, the 47th president, okay, here in his second presidential election, that moved to revoke or terminate these TPS protections. And the Supreme Court cleared the way for the termination to go forward. So the question you should ask yourself is simple. Why lash out at foundational Black Americans? What do we have to do with this? And the truth is, it's not really about foundational Black Americans. The truth is they're lashing out at America. But see, they're too afraid to lash out at white America because they fear what will happen to them. So instead, they just, like many other immigrant groups have done, they take the anger toward America and aim at Black Americans. So they say things like dirty Black Americans. They'll say you're all on welfare. They'll say you're lazy and so on. But the truth is, when they say that, they're really talking about all Americans. They're calling all Americans lazy. They're telling all Americans that we don't know what to do with our citizenship and we don't appreciate what we have. And then we just need to work harder. Somebody type work harder in the chat room, okay? And you can hear it in the language. You can hear it in the contempt. You can hear it in the resentment. But again, they're too afraid to say that directly to white America, so they focus their hostility on foundational Black Americans because they don't think that we'll do anything about it. And that's the part that needs to be understood. This isn't just immigration frustration. This is displacement. This is people being angry at the United States government, angry at the Supreme Court, angry at Trump, and angry at the loss of legal protection they depend on, but then turning around and directing that anger at the one group of Americans they think they can safely disrespect, and that's foundational Black Americans. Somebody type temporary in the chat room. You see? Let's see, here's the thing. I want to dig a little deeper. The problem is that, I guess the problem that immigrants have in general, they really don't understand Black America and white America. Because see, both white Americans and Black Americans, and when I say Black Americans, I'm referring to foundational Black Americans, understand something that many immigrants either don't understand or don't want to admit or haven't fully assimilated into. America is and always will be a black and white country at its deepest historical, political, and cultural foundation. Somebody type black and white. And that doesn't mean other groups don't live here. That doesn't mean other groups don't matter. But the core American story was built through foundational black Americans, heritage white Americans, who endured slavery, Civil War, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, Civil Rights era, labor disputes, land disputes, law, citizenship, war after war, politics, culture, and the Constitution. You can't explain America without explaining these two groups. So when you talk about foundational black Americans with contempt, white Americans, especially the ones who have deep roots here, understand that you're also talking about America in general. You're talking about one of the foundational American populations, and that is black Americans. You're talking about people whose ancestors built this country and fought in every war alongside the white people. You're talking about the people who've been paying taxes for generations, paid into the institution, and helped define what citizenship even means here in America. And that anger is noted. And this is where some legal and illegal immigrants make a serious mistake. They think they can separate foundational black Americans from America. They think they can insult foundational black Americans while still claiming to love and respect America. They think they can call foundational black Americans lazy, dirty, welfare dependent, name the names, criminal, ungrateful, undeserving, while pretending they're not attacking the country that produced us. But that isn't how America works. If you don't like black Americans, you don't like Americans. If you despise black Americans, you despise America. If you look at foundational black Americans with contempt, then you're looking at one of the oldest, most entrenched, deeply rooted American populations with contempt. And that's especially important in this TPS conversation. TPS means what? Temporary protected status. It's a temporary immigration protection that allows certain foreign nationals to remain in the United States when their home country is considered too dangerous or unstable for return. We did them a favor. We could have left them there, and they could have suffered through the rebuilding of the hurricane. But now we're saying, hey, you know what? It's time for y'all to go home and get out of our house. Now, while they were here, it could provide work authorization, protection from deportation for a limited period, but it is not citizenship. It isn't permanent residency. It doesn't make you an American. So when TPS Haitians lash out at foundational black Americans because those protections are ending, they're directing their anger at the wrong people. Black Americans didn't create TPS. We didn't grant TPS. We didn't terminate TPS. We didn't argue the case. We didn't issue the ruling. We didn't revoke anybody's work permit. That came from Donald Trump's administration and under Donald Trump's second presidency. And the man already established what he was going to do in the first one. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, why are they lashing out at black Americans? And the answer is that, again, they're angry at America, but they're afraid to aim that anger at white America because they don't want to have to deal with the consequences. So instead, what do? Like many other immigrant groups, they just blame the black people. Because that's because we're the safest Americans they can disrespect. And this is where the anti-American sentiment shows itself. It doesn't always come out as I hate America. Sometimes it comes out as, oh, black Americans are lazy. Sometimes it comes out as, oh, you don't know what to do with your citizenship. It comes out, all of y'all are, lazy, no good welfare recipients. Oh, here's my favorite. Immigrants build America. Immigrants come here and work hard. But see, that isn't just anti-Black language. That's anti-American language being filtered through anti-Black contempt to make it more palatable to other people.
All right, let's talk about it. Now let's talk about that. That is very anti-American. Because little do y'all know, we do not be trying to get close to the YT people. The YT people just been in proximity to us, and we've been fighting them for so long, they just know who we is. Some of them go against the grain with their own folks. See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all don't know that part. Y'all ain't been here long enough to see that. Some of y'all might be in some predominantly Black neighborhoods, but Black Americans know YT Americans. Some of us done had kids with them. This is a very tight-knit thing we've been having going since America been here. It used to be a point in time you couldn't even look at a white woman, a YT woman, without getting in trouble. So y'all didn't know that because y'all don't do the history. That or y'all taking the history of what they told y'all and putting it with us, but that ain't our history. We got real history. And we know our history. Y'all don't. So while y'all siding with the YT people, some of my people even had to figure out, ooh, these ain't the ones that we dealing with. But we had to go through that. We had to rock it out. And then when we rocked it out and found out, we like, nah, that ain't the move. But then, here y'all come. And y'all really trying to side with them. Yeah. I don't know what to tell y'all, man. I ain't gonna say sorry that y'all gotta go. Y'all should have been on the team that was winning in the first place. I know it looked like we wasn't doing nothing. I know a lot of y'all said y'all doing better than us. Y'all get here, we up. But you see what happened when y'all go over there messing with the YT, using like tools. They break them at the end. See, they can't get rid of us. We here. We here. They mad about that. And a matter of fact, I seen something that they said that they were doing in Africa. Y'all need to be trying to get over there and tell the Africans what not to do over there. They talking about they were trying to do population control. They said they needed to get rid of 3 million people. They said where we gonna start at is Africa. They said we ain't worried about them. They ain't doing nothing. They ain't providing nothing to society. That's how the YT feel about y'all. But y'all don't got no smoke for them. We just like, look, we delineating. We don't want no problems with y'all, man. Gone. Like y'all moves, man. Never thought somebody that looked like me would be against me. That's crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna bring it up on one of my sessions. They said we're gonna do population control. We're gonna start off with Africa. They making these fake diseases, everything. Yes, sir. The package. They said we're gonna send the package, fake stuff. They gonna do population control. They said they can't do it. They can't start it over here. They gotta start it over there. So that's why I say, what's the problem with y'all going to y'all home and build y'all stuff up, man? Get your guards up. It's more of y'all than it is of us. And we been fighting. Why y'all can't do the same? All y'all gotta do is get the money, go back, build up, quit all that tribalistic stuff, while at the same time trying to preach unity to us. Nah, we ain't listening to that. We don't hear that no more. At first we did. We thought y'all would come down and get with us, but that ain't the case. That is not the case. Even some of the old heads is mad. Like, boy, if I knew I would have did that on them civil rights movements, I would have never brought them. I'm like, that's crazy. Hey, but it is what it is. Yeah, I showed y'all hand. I guess we gotta show ours. It just don't make no sense to me. I showed y'all one that one. I showed you that one where the YT people was even like, oh my God, the Black Americans. Is it so they think they don't know the difference. Okay. But yeah. Crazy stuff, man. Now the last thing I want to talk about, because I got stuff I gotta do, right? Where that one at? Where my man's at? Man, it was going down. What's the one I seen? Alright. This one. Where is it at? I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna try to get it to where my man even said it. I'm gonna show y'all how hectic they get.
Hell no. To deprive someone of.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do my homework on that one, but it's all good. I ain't even tripping. I got something for him. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. That's crazy. Now this one, I just wanted to put this out because the demonrats is what saved y'all, right? But they going so far. Ain't nobody voting for them to keep everybody up in here because they trying to do something different. Now check this out. F.B.A. All that vote blue no matter who. Knowing blue my favorite color. But that vote blue, I'm more like blue who. Because this ain't happening. Look at this. They getting too far. Watch this.
If you buy your car
So this is
and
crazy.
you finance, you do not own that vehicle. The bank owns that vehicle. So if you are driving around.
Check this out.
We're in Detroit at a campaign event for Donovan McKinney. He's a state representative and a Democratic socialist who's challenging the area's congressmen from the left. If McKinney can pull off an August 4th primary win, he'll be part of about a half dozen Democratic socialists who have won their primaries and are on a glide path to the November general election.
We fight, never be known.
This group is part of progressive momentum that has tapped into anger from Democratic voters at current elected leaders. It's making elected and establishment Democrats very nervous.
We have an opportunity to elect real people, working people who care.
Despite this recent success, DNC-backed candidates face pushback from both sides of the aisle.
Socialism, that should be the unacceptable view, in the Democratic Party.
Although polls show some Americans are losing faith in capitalism, recent surveys find there isn't a rush from across the political spectrum to embrace socialism either. You specifically are a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. That label does scare some people, particularly Republicans, some Democrats too. Why be associated with DSA?
When I've had discussions with DSA and what they're fighting for, it aligns with what I'm trying to fight for: Medicare for all, universal child care, making sure that people have free tuition to get higher education and get the skills necessary to earn an honest living. You have to work one job.
So are you okay if people shorthanded to just call you a socialist?
Yeah, they get shorthanded. But for me, it's not about the label. It's about the issues. They're tired of our elected leaders just giving you talking points and platitudes and tell you what you want to hear, but behind closed doors are making boatloads of money and don't give a rat's ass about you.
Even if you all make it into Congress, it's still a really small group of you. Like, how are you actually going to accomplish any of these things you're promising? You have a Republican in the White House, let alone Democratic leadership is not embracing what you guys are calling for.
Yeah. Trump's polling numbers is down in the dumps. But who or what entity consistently polls worse than Trump?
Democratic Party.
The Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Because people are looking for fighters and champions on these working class issues. That's all I hear in the doors. And so we're pushing progressive policies that might not move the needle so much in terms of like getting passed, but it can at least start the conversation.
After the DSA published a platform in mid-July that included calls to abolish ICE, police, prisons, and the Electoral College, both Republicans and Democrats criticized the group.
These crazy little mini Mamdanis who are popping up all around the country, they are a danger to you and your family.
They're not the socialism of Europe where they talk about healthcare, they talk about housing. They're way beyond that. Abolishing ICE, I reject it. Defunding police, I reject that.
DSA says their membership has exploded since Bernie Sanders' first run for president. In 2016, they had less than 6,000 members. Now, that number is over 120,000 and growing each time a DSA member has a new victory.
I see a New York that we called for.
The group has been supercharged since Trump's return to office and by anger over Israel's actions in the Middle East.
We will not wait to end the genocide in Palestine!
This new wave of DSA candidates includes a handful who have already defeated incumbent Democrats in their home state's congressional primaries. Candidates in Colorado, Pennsylvania, and New York appear on track to win their general elections in November. There are also other DSA challengers for the U.S. House in Missouri and Florida. And in battleground Wisconsin, a Democratic socialist could win her primary, setting her up for a highly competitive race for governor. If Democrats win with a tight majority, DSA members could vote as a bloc and force changes to legislation or stop it from passing altogether. The first test will be voting for Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker if Democrats win. DSA members have been divided so far on what they do. Melat Kiros said she was a no.
I'm not supporting anybody who takes corporate PAC money. That's a really hard line that I'm taking that I think has to be the standard for our party.
While Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, another Democratic socialist, said she'll back him.
I will be supporting Hakeem Jeffries for leader.
Most other progressive candidates involved in competitive races choose not to identify as socialist. Abdul El-Sayed, who is running for the U.S. Senate against an establishment Democrat in Michigan's primary, has support from some DSA members, but he says he isn't a socialist.
When the billionaires tell us we can't touch them, we won't back down!
While the Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez star power drew an enthusiastic crowd, McKinney's rally a few days before had a much smaller group of voters. If he can pull off a win, he will further pull the Democratic Party leftward, but so far, that's where DSA's reach ends. The movement has not had any success flipping major competitive seats yet and has mostly focused its energy on solidly Democratic areas.
We have to push our party to not just say we're the party of the people, but to actually act like it. You can call it democratic socialism, you can call it progressivism, but these are common sense issues we're going to push an agenda that is going to be all about working people. My agenda is going to be for them.
And see, that's what I'm saying, YouTube, F.B.A. This is not good at all. But I know my family already up. Because everybody I talk to is like, nah, we ain't going for none of that. Democrats have lost their mind. Now they done turned into the democratic socialism. Communists. And like you say, if you look at history, all the communist places got everybody on their knees, doing whatever they want. It ain't gonna work. It's over for y'all boys. Y'all giving up the plan, and I'm here to show it off. So, hey, we gotta step on this. We gotta hit this We gotta hit this ant with a sledgehammer, cause this will get dangerous. You hear me? They damn near the enemy of the state now. They about to do treason. We on. We ain't never been on. We ain't never did communism. This is crazy. So with the TPS is going on, with the immigrants being anti-black, on top of the Democrats trying to turn into a socialism ass class. I don't know what else to say. Don't go for the buffoonery. You hear me? And like I say, I was going live. Was hoping somebody tap in. But you know, it's all good. You know, I'm just fresh at it. Oh, and make sure you like, subscribe, and share too. Yeah, I'm getting better with it, y'all. Y'all see me getting better with it. When I get all the content going, it's gonna be good. Yeah. And my eyes ain't closed to this. I'm looking at it. I said, if they get in office, we over with. I'm talking about America. Black and white. Do y'all know what that means? That means they gonna take over the government. They gonna take over everything. They gonna be like kings. I thought y'all said no kings. I thought y'all was no kings, no nothing. If that go down, it's gonna be like a king, and whoever in there, most definitely gonna get it. And you ain't gonna be able to get them out of there. And you ain't gonna be able to stop them from taking your government assistance, none of that. They gonna decide on what y'all gonna get and what y'all gonna eat and everything else. Y'all know we ain't never lived like that. Look, we got rich people, we got poor people, we got middle class. You understand? The demon rats that messed it up so bad that they ain't even looking out for the poor people. They looking out for everybody else. And when they get everybody else on that team to vote for them and get in there, don't worry about it. The rich ones gonna be turning poor. And there ain't gonna be nothing you can do. They gonna take over their finances. They gonna take over the jobs. Check it out. They call DSA, Democratic Social Associates. Assembly, something like that. It say it in the name. Look it online. I'm not lying to you. Well, the Democrats is going crazy because they losing steam. Now you know the Democrats always won force. But guess what they about to do now? They gonna all right. F.A.F.O. To the ones that know, they know. So don't do this. Vote blue no matter who is over with. That's dead. And with that being dead, that means pew, pew, pew. We turned that blue shirt red. Let's go. Let's get it. Hey, to my fans, like I said, make sure y'all like, subscribe, and share. One day I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna have some comments coming one day. And with that, I'm out. Y'all do your thing, man.